Public Attorney Persida Rueda Costa, NBI Director Dante A. Giran, coming daw po. Immigration Commissioner Jaime H. Morente, LRA Administrator Renato D. Bermeo, Parole and Probation Administrator Manuel Co, Government Corporate Counsel Rudolph Philip B. Jurado, PCGG Acting Chairman Reynolds S. Munsayak, Director Ray M. Ragas from the Bureau of Corrections. The department is to uphold the rule of law by serving as the principal law agency of the government. Under the 1987 Administrative Code, the DOJ serves as legal counsel and prosecutorial arm of the government, administers the government's criminal justice system by investigating crimes, prosecuting offenders, and administering the correctional system, implements laws on the admission and stay of aliens, citizenship, and land titling system, and provides free legal services to indigent persons.
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary.
Yes,
can you just skip the preliminaries? You know already the Department of Justice. This is not a new agency. Maybe you can start with the budget itself or your major, I see here, major accomplishments. You can start with that so that you can save time.
We go to page 7.
Page 4 probably?
Page
4? Well, I'm looking at this, if it's this one.
7 is the accomplishment.
You said the accomplishment, page 7?
Page 7, the accomplishments.
Okay.
Page. We have achieved incremental performance improvements in our major programs. As shown in the slide, the disposition rate or percentage of cases resolved improved progressively over the years, from 74.6% in 2010 to 87% in 2016, while an improvement from 80% in 2015. This is in spite of the increase in investigation caseload of our prosecutors nationwide. For the anti-trafficking persons enforcement through the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, or the IACAT, as shown in the graph, we have achieved a significant number of convictions from 2010 to end of 2016. Cumulatively, there are already 252 convictions during said period. The sustained and even intensified efforts by the Philippines has been recently recognized by the U.S. State Department after the country retained its Tier 1 status in the 2017 Global Trafficking in Persons GTIP report.
Secretary, I think this is also borne out by the fact that we amended the law and made it stronger, no? So the amendment in the Anti-Trafficking Act, which we did just a few years ago, I think helped the DOJ in more convictions.
That's true, Madam Senator. As a matter of fact, it is only after the amendment that we entered for the first time our Tier 1 ranking.
So we really see the connection between improved legislation and executive action.
That's
and
right.
we will continue to support IACAT because even as we speak, online child trafficking happens, and more than 80% the pimps are relatives, including parents, and that's very sad. I think one of your IACAT NGO members is the IJM, International Justice Mission, and they know that. And there are targeted cities in Luzon that are the haven of these traffickers, but it's an international syndicate. We'll get to that later. But congratulations for this, but all I'm saying is that there's much, much more work to be done to save our children from international syndicates on trafficking.
That's correct, Madam Senator. As a matter of fact, the DOJ is very active in supporting the IACAT activities, including the support in terms of financing for the financial needs of IACAT. May I continue, Madam Senator? Page 9. For the attached agencies, the 3 core programs are grouped according to functional clusters. For law enforcement, our 2 agencies are the National Bureau of Investigation, who is in charge of crime detection and investigation, and the Bureau of Immigration, which focuses on border control and management. For our corrections program, our agencies are the Bureau of Corrections, which deals with prisoners' rehabilitation and prisoners' custodial and safekeeping programs. The Parole and Probation Administration manages the parole and probation programs. For legal services, the 5 agencies of the department provide the services such as Public Attorney's Office for Public Legal Assistance, Office of the Solicitor General for Legal Services for National Government Agencies, Office of the Government Corporate Council for Legal Services for Government Corporations, Land Registration Authority for Land Titling and Registration, Presidential Commission on Good Government for Ill-Gotten Wealth Recovery and Administration. To be shown in the next few slides are the performance of our constituent and attached agencies for the year 2016 by comparing the actual accomplishment versus the targets for the core agency performance indicators. For our law enforcement services, the NBA was able to conduct 59,726 criminal investigations and process more than 7 million applications for criminal records clearance. The Bureau of Immigration processed within 40 seconds upon primary inspection 99.9% of entries and exits and processed more than 1 million immigration and registration documents in 2016. For our correction services, the Bucor exceeded its target as it achieved an average of 37,655 inmates participating in its reformation program. The Parole and Probation Administration was able to ensure that 98% of its clients are compliant to their probation and or parole conditions, and about 99% are participating in the rehabilitation program. For the legal services, the PAO was able to secure, or Public Attorney's Office was able to secure a favorable in judgment on about 76% of its cases handled in 2016, and was able to act on all requests for legal assistance within 2 hours from receipt. The OSG was able to act on 98% of the cases it handled and resolve all of petitions for naturalization in the same year, while the OGCC was able to ensure that all pleadings were filed within the prescribed period. The LRA exceeded its target of 92% for the issuance of titles and annotations of deeds within 20 days from receipt of complete documents by achieving 93.9 disposition within the said prescribed period. Lastly, the PCGG was able to recover 481.95 million pesos of ill-gotten wealth from the administration of assets, which is more than 55% of its targets for the year 2016. The total 2018 program budget for the DOJ building, its constituent and attached agencies amounts to 17.3 billion. As you may note, this is only 0.46%, or less than half of the 1% of the total national budget for 2018. For fiscal year 2018, the department-wide budget proposal submitted amounts to 39.9 billion. The total budget recommended in the 2018 National Expenditure Program is 17.3 billion. This is 10% higher than the 15.6 billion in the 2017 General Appropriations Act. This slide shows our 2018 budget by expense classification in millions of pesos. Details on these figures will be shown later. On the overall, about 76% is for personal services, including salaries and other compensation of employees. Only 20% is provided for maintenance and other operating expenses, MOOE. For capital outlays, there is a minimum amount equivalent to 1% is provided, covering select agencies of the department. With the permission of the honorable members of the committee, please allow me to present the DOJ Office of the Secretary budget in the next several slides. For 2018, we are provided with a budget of 6.5 billion. This is 20% higher than the 5.4 billion budget in 2017. About 87% of the DOJ OSIC budget allocation for 2018 is for personal services, 12% for MOE, and only 1% for capital outlays. For our law enforcement program, the prosecution services budget for the National Prosecution Service is increased by 34%. Witness protection program at the same rate, or same level. Interagency counsel against trafficking increased by 0.7%, and other component programs and activities increased by 5%. On the overall, our 2018 law enforcement budget will be 31% higher than our 2017 appropriations. Our law enforcement program performance indicators relate to the disposition rate of criminal complaints handled by the National Prosecution Service, the percentage of application for witness coverage acted upon by the WPP, and the rate of investigations completed by our special units. For our corrections services, the Board of Pardons and Parole grants parole to qualified offenders and recommends to the Office of the President the grant of parole executive clemency. The Victims Compensation Program provides monetary compensation for victims of violent crimes and unjust imprisonment through the Board of Claims. In terms of performance, the indicators focus on pardons and parole services and actions on claims for victims' compensation. On legal services, the DOJ legal staff renders various legal services in relation to the function of the Justice Secretary as Attorney General, including legal opinions, resolution of citizenship cases, grants of special and non-immigrant visas, legislative position papers, and legal studies, among others. The Office for Alternative Dispute Resolution, OADR, is mandated by Republic Act number 9285 to promote, develop, and expand the use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms in the private and public sectors. DOJ lawyers also participate in the negotiation of economic agreements within the country and abroad, and its implementation to ensure consistency with our legal interests and framework. For 2018, we have 3 locally funded projects as follows. Implementation of Administrative Order number 35, Series 2012, creating the Interagency Committee on Extralegal Killings, enforced disappearances, torture, and other grave violations of right to life, liberty, and security of persons. Continuing capacity building of our lawyers for participation in government, trade, and investment negotiations. Ongoing National Justice Information System project. For our touch and constituent agencies, we start with the National Bureau of Investigation. The 2018 recommended budget for our law enforcement agency amounts to 1.5 billion, which is 3% higher than the 1.4 billion in 2017. For the said 2018 budget, the NBI will be able to process more than 6 million applications for clearance, of which at least 97% will be processed within 10 minutes from receipt. The NBI will also be able to act on and conduct investigation in at least 55,500 cases. For the Bureau of Immigration, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 943.2 million, which is 3% lower than the 974.5 million in 2017. Given this budget, the BI estimates to process 99% of entries and exits within 45 seconds upon primary inspection. The agency will also process 93% of immigration transactions within 6 days from filing to implementation and dispose 93% of intelligence cases within 60 days. For the PPA, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 877.2 million, which is about 16% higher than the 755 million in 2017. The said amount includes implementation of the single carpeta or inmate record system in the agency as part of the National Justice Information System project. With this 2018 budget, PPA will ensure that 97% of clients will be compliant to the terms of their probation and or parole conditions, and that 95% will participate in its rehabilitation program. For the Public Attorney's Office, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 2.9 billion, which is 15% higher than the 2.6 billion in 2017. Given the recommended budget, PAO will be able to acquire 76.24% favorable disposition of its cases, including appealed cases, and will ensure that 100% of requests for non-judicial services will be acted upon within 2 hours. For the Office of the Solicitor General, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 802.8 million. The OSG aims at least 90% of all cases acted upon in 2018 are within 30 days. For resolution of petitions for naturalization, the agency intends to resolve all by the end of the year. The OSG's concern on the NEP is on paragraph 1 of the special provision in its budget. The present wording limits the benefits authorized under Republic Act 9417 to OSG employees employed and at the rates given before the effectivity of the SSL 3 in 2009. It would essentially exclude said employees in all the benefits provided under Republic Act 9417. For the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 125.5 million, which is 5% higher than the 119.2 million in 2017. Given the said 2018 budget, the OGCC will ensure that 100% of all court pleadings will be filed within the prescribed period. It will also ensure that all contracts will be reviewed and legal opinions will be rendered within the prescribed period. Lastly, for the Presidential Commission on Good Government, the 2018 recommended budget amounts to 120.4 million, which is 9% higher than the 110.3 million in 2017. The PCGG targets about 367 million of assets will be submitted to the private counsel for disposition. This ends the presentation of the 2018 department-wide budgets. We are now ready to accommodate your questions and clarifications, if any. We are looking forward to your favorable consideration of our budgets in support of our efforts to achieve our goals for the efficient and effective administration of justice and upholding the rule of law. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Yung sa PAOT at Pagkara yung wala tayong ginastos. Bakit siya?
Pinag-usapan niya sa walang programs. Walang programs na sinasabi. Training pa lang ginagamit niya sa PAOT dito. Hindi
Ang ginagawa sa atin, yun lang.
You're finished with your presentation? Yes.
Chairman,
Do we have others? You've covered everything, right?
I believe so,
Okay.
Madam.
I will give it to Senator Drilon first, then I have questions on your utilization of funds. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I have a few clarificatory questions because being a former Secretary of Justice myself, I'm interested in how my former agency is able to move forward and achieve the purpose for which it was created. My first question is on extrajudicial killings. I noticed that in your slide on the DOJ OSEC expenditure program, locally funded, there is an item here, a small item but significant. It says locally funded project, one of which is the implementation of AO 35, parentheses, Interagency Committee on Extra-Legal Killings, Enforced disappearances, torture, and other grave violations of right to life, liberty, security of persons. Close parentheses. In the present budget, there is 32.9 million, and in the proposed 2018 budget, 33.3. As I said, this is not very significant insofar as the amounts are concerned, but it is significant in that this is the first time people, and I myself, is made aware that there is a committee on extrajudicial killings. As we are all aware, the rising death toll from extrajudicial summary or arbitrary killings has placed our country under scrutiny in the eyes of the international community and among local legal, and also in the local legal community. Just to be fair, even the prosecutors of DOJ are victims of summary killings. I've read in the media about prosecutors being shot. Now, the Secretary has ordered Department Order 120, Department Order 120, last February 20, 2017, giving the NBI the authority to conduct investigation on reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. I repeat, this is issued by the Secretary on February 20, 2017, and has been given under Department Order number 120. First of all, I have a series of questions. First of all, can you first tell us what is this Interagency Committee on Extralegal Killings? What has it achieved so far? What is this budget for? Number two, can you provide us with an update on the status of the said directives? How many cases are being probed or resolved? What is the current data on the death toll allegedly related to drugs and or random killings? Why is it that the data of the CHR is different from that provided by the PNP or the DOJ? And we would like to request responses to this series of questions for the record, Madam President or Madam Secretary.
Thank you very much, Sir Senator. For the year 2016, we have advocated transparency in criminal process and government data through responses to local international correspondences. Closely monitored AO 35 cases.
I'm sorry. Mr. Secretary, my first question is, what is the Interagency Committee on Extralegal Killings do? And what is this budget for?
Hindi ba yun sa extralegal cases, yun yung AJK?
Yes, sir.
Who heads it anyway? Under the AO? Under the AO,
I
who
do not
heads
know,
it?
but this was cited
Yes,
in the...
yes, correct.
There it is.
There's
There's an AO 35.
yes. Maybe we should ask first. give us a copy of the AO, and then sino po ang head nitong interagency, and then perhaps a justification for the budget. That's what Senator Drilon is asking.
The Administrative Order number 35, or AO 35, is headed by the
NN Orsa. Secretary NN Orsa. Undersecretary NN Orsa. Sorry. Yung composition na
You seem not to be very familiar with this AO. Who issued this AO, Mr. Secretary?
it was Secretary De Lima and 2012, Your Honor, and the chairperson is the Secretary of Justice, and the members are the Presidential Human Rights Committee, the Secretary of the Department of the ALG, Secretary of the Department of National Defense, Presidential Advisor on Peace Process, Presidential Advisor for Political Affairs, Chief Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Director General Philippine National Police, and Director of the National Bureau of Investigation.
So, what is the budget for? And what has it achieved so far? Or at least can you go on record what are the functions of this interagency committee?
May I refer His Honor to the USEC for ASEC for Finance of the DOJ.
Yeah, that's for the budget, but on the substance, what does AO 35 entail in terms of substantive work?
We have, Your Honor, assigned USEC Reynante Orseo on this AO 35 to conduct a study, Your Honor.
Yes,
May I refer to USEC Orseo?
You are the USEC who downgraded the murder charge against who's this guy? Marcos?
yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, okay, sige. So,
Before you answer, may I just give Senator Drilon a copy of the AO 35? May I also just put on record that the AO is supposed to create a task force, and the task force is supposed to formulate a strategic action plan and is to establish better coordination and cooperation among prosecutors and law enforcers in the investigation and prosecution of cases or incidents that AO 35 is supposed to address. Is that correct? Because the question of Senator Drilon was, ano ba talaga ang pakay ng AO? So may task force kayo para may magandang koordinasyon ang pulisya at saka ang mga prosecutors sa mga kaso arising from those that AO 35 is supposed to focus on. Hindi ba ho? Yun ang pakay ng AO.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
I'm trying to
Mr.
help you answer
Yes,
there.
yes, Your Honor, that's
Yes,
correct.
okay. So you can proceed from there.
Yes, Your Honor, insofar as the accomplishment of the AO 35 is concerned, as of date, we have a total of 333 cases.
I'm sorry?
We have a total
Please
of,
speak clearly and slowly, and do
we
not
have a total of 333 cases that has been
330.
yes, broken down into unsolved, which is 89, under police investigation 12, under preliminary investigation 26, ongoing trial 29, and without action 70, and terminated 107.
So how many times has this interagency committee met since, say, for the last 1 year?
Your Honor, the AO 35 has been delegated to me last in 12 months ago, and since then we are conducting at least a month.
Sorry?
At least a month, once a month inter-council meeting among the member agencies, Your Honor.
You have met how many times? Once?
Once every month since it was delegated to me about 4 months ago, Your Honor.
Okay, so you have had, and what do you discuss here?
We discussed actually, Your Honor, the cases that can be elevated to EJK, the reported killings from among the different agencies. We qualify them whether or not the alleged killing.
So let's take that up. Cases, you discuss cases that can be elevated as extrajudicial killings. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how many of these cases have been elevated as extrajudicial killings?
Your Honor, as of date,
While you're looking at that, the fact that this was done in 2012, is that correct?
yes, Your Honor.
That means there was an issue of extrajudicial killings as early as then.
Yes,
Correct.
that's correct, Your Honor.
So the issue of EJKs is not new, and the importance of this AO creating a task force which is lodged in the DOJ shows that the EJK issue has been there.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. So perhaps if the DOJ could present to the committee the EJK statistics, if you have, not just from 2012. Then Justice Secretary De Lima created this AO because there was a problem of EJK. So perhaps in a 10-year frame, it's 2017. From 2007 to 2010, that was the Arroyo administration. Then 2010 to 2016, the Aquino administration. So we can see, because the fact that the AO 35 was done, there must have been a problem with EJKs from a long time ago. So we can see also from in a 10-year span where we are now.
Yeah, we're just talking
Yes,
about the
thank
4
you.
months where Yusek Arceo was in charge. So I assume she does not have personal knowledge of the previous months. So we're just focusing in the meantime on the period when Yusek Arceo was active. You're saying that among the matters that you discussed is a determination of the cases that can be elevated as EJ case. So how many of these have been elevated?
Your Honor, during the 4-month period, the committee, the interagency have not taken into consideration, there is no referral, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
There is no referral of alleged EJK cases during the 4-month period, Your Honor.
Who has to refer? Even you can only work on the basis of the referrals?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor, because by practice, anybody can have it prepared, and if a alleged case has been referred to the NBI or to the DNR, these cases will be elevated to the committee for its study, Your Honor.
So none of these incidents were ever considered as extrajudicial killings by your interagency
Your Honor,
committee?
if you're referring to the drug-related cases, it's not by mandate, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
By mandate, Your Honor, drug-related cases are not included in EJK, Your Honor.
Well, I'm just picking up from where you said that you mentioned that the principal function of the interagency committee is to discuss cases that are to be elevated as extrajudicial killing. You just said that.
Yes,
That's
yes,
why I'm
Your Honor.
asking how many of these cases were discussed during your time elevated to the status of an extrajudicial killing.
Your Honor, insofar as new cases, there is none, but we are continuing the discussion on the present cases that has been referred to the committee, Your Honor.
All right. Now, so what is this budget for?
Budget
First, how did you, how did you utilize the 32.9 million?
Your Honor, we just conducted our strategic planning last 2 months ago, and the AO35 committee has identified several activities to be done and completed in the next remaining months, and so on and so forth, and just to enumerate all these activities, Your Honor. Number 1 is the UN reporting and other international conferences that is required to be attended. Number 2 is the development of program.
International travel, is what you use this?
No, not travel, Your Honor, conferences. Like previously, we have attended the Universal Periodic Review, which is required. Number 2 is development of program instruction investigators training seminar, training of AO35 prosecutors. 3, database and knowledge management training. Number 4, data gathering training. Number 5, the orientation of information protocol of IAC and TWG, Technical Working Group. and the creation of special tracker team activation, special investigation team activation, hiring of additional personnel, Your Honor.
Can I have a more, you don't have to verbalize it, but can you give me a written report of how what are the items and how you utilized this?
Yes, Your Honor. I will submit, Your Honor.
Now, so, now, insofar as Department Order Number 3, which authorized the NBI to conduct investigation of reported killings related to the campaign against illegal drugs. Can you provide us with the status of this directive, Mr. Secretary? What has happened so far?
Actually, I would like to correct myself. The AO35 was issued by the President Aquino in 2012, but the guidelines was issued by former Secretary of Justice Laila de Lima after the signing. Now, with respect to the Department Order 120, where I authorized the NBI to conduct investigation of reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs, it is very clear here, Your Honor, that this does not cover cases allegedly covered by Administrative Order Number 35. This is AO 35 dated November 12, 2012, and Administrative Order Number 01 dated October 11, 2016. Because as defined under the guidelines issued by the EO 35 and by the guidelines under Secretary de Lima, only the following killings are covered by extrajudicial killing or AGK. And they are, the victim is a member of or affiliated with an organization to include political, environmental, agrarian, labor, or similar causes. 2, an advocate of above-named causes. 3, media practitioner, or persons apparently mistaken or identified to be so. This was amended under President Duterte when under AO1, where the number 3, the killing of media practitioners, were taken away from this definition of AGK and given to the Office of the President under Secretary Andanar. So we have to differentiate this from the killings which has been interchanged by many local and even foreign practitioners, where they include under AO35 the killings in this war against drugs. This, Mr. Senator, is different.
Yeah,
this
okay,
is not
just go to AO. My focus of question, Mr. Secretary, is on Department Order Number 120, which...
Yes, Your Honor. It is very clear under Department Order 120 that I gave the NBI, or I authorized the NBI to conduct investigation of reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. Right. This and expressly, not including or excluding expressly the AO35.
Fine, yeah, okay, that's why I'm focusing this question on AO120. So what is, okay, for example, how many cases have been probed or resolved as pursuant to Department Order 120? Mayroon ba kayong inimbestiga na extrajudicial killing in relation to the campaign against illegal drugs?
Definitely, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, that's what Yusek Orsay was talking about were about 332 cases. But for more particularity or details, report, maybe could we ask the National Bureau of Investigation if they have they could reply this to this and more detailed.
Thank you.
You recognize Director Geran, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and good morning, Senator Drilon. At the NBI, we have a division which is Death Investigation Division. All cases of killings referred to us are being investigated by that division in Manila. In like manner that killings are also being investigated by our regions when killings are also referred or being put before our regional office. We have investigated a lot of killings.
You know, we don't have much time, I'm sorry, but my question is very specific. How many cases are being investigated as a consequence of DO 120, which is specifically directs the or gives authority to the NBI to conduct investigation on reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against drugs. First, how many killings are allegedly related to illegal drugs today?
Mr. Senator,
Yeah.
will you allow us to submit a formal report on this?
No, this is, I'm just picking up from your report. I would want answers now. How many extrajudicial killings allegedly related to illegal drugs are being investigated pursuant to your own department order? That's a fair question.
For this year,
Whatever.
since the start of the Duterte administration.
Your Honor, Madam Chairman,
NBI is not submitted.
after issuing the Department Order number 120 on February 20, 2017, I followed it up with an urgent memorandum from the Secretary addressed to the National Bureau of Investigation through USEC in charge, Raymond Mikate. The subject is the submission of inventory of reported killings allegedly as a result of the government's campaign against illegal drugs, dated July 26, 2017. And I read, if I may. Per Department Order number 120, dated 20 February 2017, the undersigned directed the National Bureau of Investigation to conduct a thorough investigation of reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. In the said department order, the NBI was also directed to submit a periodic inventory with the status report of all cases related to the foregoing. In furtherance thereto, the Bureau is hereby directed to submit to the undersigned within 10 days from receipt hereof an inventory of complaints, cases of reported killings, allegedly as a result of the government's campaign against illegal drugs, pending with or resolved by our office since July 1st, 2016, indicating the status of each case. Attached herewith is a copy of the OG 120. So,
Likewise, issue kayo sa ano.
So for the Secretary's directive, directed the NBI to come up with this data. May we know if this has been submitted?
and also, Your Honor, on the same date, may I finish? Sir Senator, I issued a memorandum to the Prosecutor General, all regional prosecutors, all provincial prosecutors, and all city prosecutors of the National Prosecution Service. In furtherance to our directive in memorandum dated 20 March 2017, copy attached, and in order to keep track of alleged cases of violation of human rights pending with the department, if any, the Office of the Prosecutor General, all regional prosecutors, provincial prosecutors, and city prosecutors are hereby directed to submit to the undersigned within 10 days from receipt hereof an inventory of cases involving killings allegedly related to the government's campaign against illegal drugs as of 01 July 2016, indicating the status of each case, whether the same has been dismissed, filed in court, or still under preliminary investigation. This is dated, Your Honor, on July 26, 2017. Unfortunately, Your Honor, we have not yet received from this government officials the requested inventory of cases which we have been...
Well, that's a sad commentary. The directives of the Secretary of Justice is being ignored by his subordinates. You give the directive for the reports on these cases. You know, you read the papers every day. You should be able to come up with some preliminary report. So that's all we're asking here. You have this AO. We're asking for the result of what data have you gathered?
Maybe, sorry, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Maybe ask the Director, he wants to say something about this.
Please.
Mr. Senator, in compliance to the directive of the Secretary, the NBI had actually made statistics of the killings. It's from January to December of 2016. Murder cases, we received 625. We have terminated 622. And we have recommended 118 of those cases. 118. 118.
For prosecution?
For prosecution, Mr. Senator. And for homicide, we received 74 cases. We terminated 87. I think it's a carryover. That's why what we terminated is more than what we received. It could be, there was a balance forwarded from the previous statistics. And we had recommended 25 of them. And we would be very happy to submit this, Mr. Senator.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Director. I still have no answer to the data that I requested that you are supposed to have generated under Department Order number 120, which is specifically for reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. That's very clear from the AO, Mr. Secretary.
Yes.
What the director of the NBI mentions are in general murder and homicide. Nothing is indicated about illegal drugs.
Your Honor, perhaps we could give the NBI a chance to classify this and to answer the queries of the good senator. Perhaps 10 days would be...
I'm sorry?
Perhaps a period of 10 days could be given the NBI to classify all this lumping.
Okay. Obviously, you're not prepared on this. Maybe this question surprised you, but are we saying, Mr. Secretary, that part of the statistics on murder, which is 625 cases for a period of what? 1 year. Part of these are related to drugs.
Yes, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, we have already the more prominent cases, the Alguera cases, the case in Bulacan could be related to drugs, and other high-profile cases. But with respect to your other part of the questions, may we ask Yusek Severino Ganya, acting Prosecutor General Severino Ganya, to report on these cases that are pending before his office.
No. So firstly, we do not have the data as to we do not have a report as to the data generated by the NBI on killings related to the campaign against illegal drugs, as you have directed in your own AO.
Your Honor, perhaps the NBI has not yet classified which of these killings are drug-related, but perhaps the answer of acting PG Severino Ganya could shed light on this point. May we recognize
Acting Prosecutor General Attorney Ganya. Why is he acting? We don't because
of the
Attorney
resignation.
Sepulveda retired.
Yes, resigned.
Resigned. Retired.
Early retirement.
Early retirement, yes. And Attorney Ganya is career, and he's the acting OIC PG.
That's right, Madam Chair.
How long does a person stay acting? Will the acting, it depends on the is it a presidential appointee?
Actually, for the acting capacity, it's the Secretary of Justice who places.
But the permanent appointment is...
But for the permanent appointment, it will be the President.
Attorney Ganya is career, no? He's been there for decades.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And about to retire next year.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Panahon pa yata ni Secretary Drilon. Nung panahon yan.
Yes,
Anyway,
Madam Chair.
perhaps Attorney Ganya can answer the question of Senator Drilon.
I'm only officer in charge because the acting Prosecutor General Catalan, the city prosecutor of Makati, is in the United States. So I'm just here in the meantime that he's on leave. And our city prosecutors and provincial prosecutors, regional prosecutors, they have submitted partially what is being asked of them to submit in DO 120. But we still have to collate all these figures so we can submit it to the Honorable Senator.
My impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there appears to be something being hidden here, something being kept. This is an issue which cannot be denied, is an issue, and all that we're asking for is data arising from your own issuances, and apparently no one can give this committee any data on this matter, notwithstanding the fact that it has been a year since this campaign started. We don't even know how many cases have been reported under this Department Order number 20. And this is only for, since its issuance on February 20, 2017, does not cover even the past incidents. Muli siya, Chairman Good.
We recognize Senator Balmakino. Before I left, I apologize for leaving. I just had to go to the ladies. I thought you would continue. I left you.
I didn't know.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I told my staff I was just in the ladies' room. Yes, so I thought you were continuing. You may continue, please. Of course. Sorry.
So obviously, at this point, the Department Secretary of Justice could not provide us with the data that is supposed to have been generated by Department Order number 120, dated February 20, 2017, which granted authority to the NBI to investigate killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. The conclusion is either there has been no investigation conducted or there is no, the data is being, the data is not ready, or if it's ready, it's being kept under lock and key. Yes.
Yes, Sir Senator. Actually, when I issued the order asking the NBI and the Prosecutor General and all regional, provincial, and city prosecutors, they have submitted, according to Acting PG Severino Ganya. We are waiting for all more than 200 provincial prosecutors and city prosecutors from all over the country to submit this to us, and apparently, and it was confirmed by OIC-PG Ganya that it has been submitted, but the same has not yet been collated. And we are asking that the Office of the Prosecutor General be given a little time to collate all this, because they are coming from the different parts, more than 200 city and provincial prosecutors coming from all over the country.
Well, yeah, other than that, Mr. Secretary, your directive is specifically addressed to the NBI. If you read your directive, directing or giving authority to the NBI to conduct investigation on reported killings. That's why we were asking the NBI how many investigations have they conducted, how many were considered as extrajudicial killings related to drugs. Very simple and straightforward question. Apparently, this is either it is not being done, or if it's being done, there is no record of the result of the investigation. We will accept that as the answer. We cannot, squeeze blood out of stone if there is no such data or no investigation being conducted.
Thank you very much, Senator Drilon. But I would like to assure the good senator that absolutely there's no attempt to hide any info or data, and we just want to be accurate, and coming as it does from the different parts of the country, and they have to classify what is what is related to drugs and what not related to drugs. I believe that we should be given a little more time to come up with the final data on this. Anyway, the OIC-PG has already stated that his office has received from the different provincial and city prosecutors. The directive to the NBI is with respect to investigation of extrajudicial or killings related to drugs. The directive to the Office of the Prosecutor General, regional prosecutors, provincial prosecutors, and city prosecutors refers to those cases that have been filed for prosecution.
So can you have a copy of both that AO 120 and the directive to the Prosecutor General's office and that one?
Yes,
but
Senator.
you said that you could not give us an accurate picture at this point, or accurate data at this point. You would rather wait for the actual data coming in. I would be happy at this point to have a preliminary estimate. A preliminary estimate of how many killings are considered as extrajudicial killings related to the campaign against illegal drugs. You subject to correction later on, a preliminary estimate would be acceptable to this representation. Would you have that?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to first to say good morning to Senator Bam Aquino. But with respect to the estimate, it is only related to the investigation conducted by the NBI.
Yes.
We do not refer to the investigations being conducted by the other enforcement agencies such as the PNP and CIDG.
Well, I suppose that will be reflected in the report of Prosecutor General Ganya. That other aspect, the ones investigated by the PNP or which cases have been filed. What is the DO-120 is only for the NBI. That will be an accurate statement. So if we can...
May we ask Yusek Orsayo and OIC PG Ganya to answer the Senator's question.
Your Honor, good morning. Insofar as cases filed in court on drug-related cases, we have data coming from...
I'm sorry, what?
We have
cases filed in court for killings?
No, drugs, Your Honor, not...
No, I'm not interested in drugs. I'm talking about extrajudicial killings. No, Madam Chair, I've been very clear for the last several minutes that we're looking at DO-120 on extrajudicial killings allegedly related to the campaign on illegal drugs. And
Cases filed, not necessarily.
no.
How many killings or how many cases?
Let me read to you. Department Order 120, dated February 20, 2017, issued by Justice Secretary Aguirre, directed the NBI, gave the NBI authority to conduct investigations on reported killings allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs. Now, the Secretary said that does not include killings, or that does not include other killings or only conducted by the NBI, excludes those conducted by the PNP. That's why I said maybe that kind of a data can be generated out of the cases filed before the prosecutor's office. So, I don't think that, I think I'm clear enough on the data that we're looking for. In any case, we would request that the approval of the budget of the Department of Justice be held in abeyance until this data is submitted, because they need 10 days to submit this data. That's what the Secretary said.
Yes, Director. I am certain that you have some preliminary information on the department order issued last February.
I asked that, they said there is none.
Maybe they simply want to be certain that the estimates are validated.
That's why I said a preliminary estimate.
Preliminary, yes.
Yes,
may the Chair please request the DOJ to give a preliminary, whichever information you have based on the department order of the Secretary on drug-related killings in 2016. Is that what you're asking for, no? 2016 drug-related killings.
For the last 1 year, July 1 to June 30, July 1, 2016 to June 30 of 2017.
Whatever information is available.
Well, they have this information because this was issued on December 20, 2017.
Your Honor.
Yes.
A report coming from the NBI will be coming in 20 minutes. So.
Sorry?
A report from a preliminary consolidated report will be coming from the NBI in 20 minutes.
We can proceed with
With
other
other points.
discussions, and then we go back to them. Let's give them 30 minutes, just so that we have the accurate information.
Now,
Thank you for
what
that.
about from the National Prosecution Service? The Secretary just said they needed 10 days.
We will await the NBI hard copy of the information that Senator De Leon is asking for. Then we can proceed with other aspects of the budget, if that's okay with you.
Chairman, may I ask on this point?
So Senator Aquino is recognized while we wait for the NBI information.
Yes, regarding this point, yung pinapakulate po sa NBI, Director Giran, are the cases filed, the investigations being done, no? Now, may I ask, does the PNP provide you with the information from the ranks, no? Meron bang coordination? Because there is an interagency committee here. I'm guessing the PNP is part of the interagency committee. Is that correct, Director?
We only refer to our, to cases referred to us, Mr. Senator.
All right. But in the interagency, kayo po ba yung chairman ng interagency?
I'm not.
Is it Secretary Aguirre who is the chairman of the interagency? Secretary, kasama po ang PNP sa interagency?
I think so. I have read the membership. Yes. The members are the Philippine Presidential Human Rights Committee, the ALG, Department of National Defense, Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, Presidential Advisor for Political Affairs, Chief of Staff of the AAP, Director General, Director, National Bureau of Investigation.
Alright. So, itong interagency, nag-meet naman po ito, no?
According to the USEC, supervising USEC, they meet at least once a month.
Okay. Maybe I can just direct my questions to Yusek Orseo.
Yes, sir.
So, Yusek Orseo, nag-meet po itong interagency na ito.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the PNP shares with you the data that they have.
Your Honor, just to be clarified, the mandate of AO 35 only covers...
I'm sorry, may I ask? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Yes, Yusek.
Yes, Your Honor, may be clarified. The coverage of the mandate of the AO 35 only covers killings related to cost-oriented organizations.
Sorry, custody?
Cost-oriented
Cost-oriented
and political organizations, Your Honor. And it does not refer to cases allegedly killed in the drug operations, Your Honor.
I see. So, in this interagency on EJK, hindi ho natatakel yung mga patayan sa related to the war against drugs.
That's correct, Your Honor.
It's not even raised at all.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the subset of X thousand, what is the subset na ba now? Ano nga ba yung official figures? Would you know?
I don't have the
I think it's at least 3,000. Can anybody correct me? Anyone here? I'm sure pinag-uusapan nyo rin to, yung PNP tsaka Secretary. Ano ba yung official numbers ng PNP pagdating sa deaths related to the drug war?
Your Honor, can I respond to that?
Yes.
Based on the data of the newly created interagency on drugs by the President, as of May 30, 2017, the drug personalities who died in the anti-drug operations is about 3,050, Your Honor.
Okay, 3,000 in legitimate police operations.
I don't know, Your Honor, but this is the data furnished by the ICANN.
3,000
and 50.
No.
3,050.
What is this? Ito ang namatay sa legitimate police operations.
There's no specification on, it's only said here, drug personalities who died in anti-drug operations.
Say it again.
Personalities who died in anti-drug operations.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Can't we assume those are legitimate police operations?
Yes, Your Honor. I would also assume, Your Honor.
So these are 3,000 deaths in legitimate police operations. Meron ka pang libo-libo na pinatay ng mga vigilante. That's correct, right?
I don't have any idea, Your Honor.
Who coordinates with the PNP, with the DOJ, Secretary Aguirre?
Actually, Your Honor, we are only being furnished these statistics from the PDEA, where we receive including all the killings, around about 7,000 plus.
7,000 plus. Okay. Okay, 7,000 plus na hindi ho including the legitimate police operations. Okay. Meron ho kayong interagency on EJK, meron kayong interagency on drugs. Tama, Yusek, you had mentioned it earlier.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the figures in these interagencies, hindi malinaw kung ano talaga yung mga numero natin?
Your Honor, it is clear, Your Honor. The one who chairs the ICAD is the PIDEA, and the OG is only a member of it. And all the data coming from the different agencies are being collated, and as of the date, as of May, the data so far submitted to the PIDEA and collated from among other agencies is about 3,050, Your Honor.
That's the legitimate police operations.
Yes, Your Honor.
Pero alam natin na may mga drug-related killings na ginagawa ng mga vigilante. I mean, that's more or less accepted. Even the PNP chief says as much, no? Hindi yan napag-uusapan sa inyong interagency.
Yes, no, not at all, Your Honor.
All right, because I find it a little unusual that in the interagency, where the agencies supposedly leading the war against drugs don't even have figures, no? So itong mga vigilante killings, hindi na ito nagiging kaso. Hindi na po ito umaabot sa mga fiscal, hindi na po ito umaabot sa ating justice system. It's more or less just still with the PNP.
Not really, Your Honor. These killings, even if valid or legitimate police operations, or those by vigilante killings, if there is a complaint filed before the Department of Justice, we act on all of this.
How many complaints have been filed based on the vigilante? Binubukod ko na po yung legitimate police operations, ha. I'm just asking about the murders done by people in masks, riding in tandem, kumakatok sa mga bahay, binabaril yung mga tao. We all agree, these are all illegal acts.
That's right,
yes,
Senator.
And therefore they should be investigated further, no? Meron ho bang mga complaints based on those cases?
I believe so, Your Honor, but we have all the statistics on this are still being collated, because reports will be coming from 247, 108 provincial prosecutors and 139 city prosecutors. So this is the process being collated.
We would appreciate that data, Secretary. Hindi ko naman to hinihingi right now, no? But do you understand kung bakit ho mahalaga to? Because we have thousands of Filipinos who have been killed by the vigilantes. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know, everyone naman has condemned this already, or most everybody has condemned these killings already. Kung nagiging kaso siya o hindi is based on if the family members are actually filing cases or not. Is that correct?
That's generally correct.
Kung wala pong lumabas o wala pong nag-file ng kaso but may murder na nangyari, isn't it the state that files a case? John Doe versus... Ganun ho ba yun? Or that's a dead case already?
If they could file a case, even if the relatives are not active, the police are not interested, the police could file it. And as long as it's filed, the DOJ is duty bound to act on it. Okay. And we would like to assure everybody that any case filed before the DOJ are acted upon without exception.
Sino po yung may personality na magpa-file po ng kaso kung wala pong kamag-anak na nag-file, nag-usap po na nag-file sa mga kasong ito?
Yung po kasing mga kamag-anak, usually, if they are not witnesses, or kung witnesses man sila, but their principal purpose is to ask for civil liability. But with respect to the filing of the criminal case, anybody who has personal knowledge, the state could file this case.
The state meaning, usually that's the police or NBI. Tama po?
That's right.
Right. So I would like to know, and I would like to compare the number of deaths because of vigilante killings and how many cases have actually been filed to seek justice for these murders, no? Gusto ko pong malaman kasi right now wala ko kayong mabigay na numero, but if that number is far from the the number of cases filed and the number of murders that happen, then no one is taking the cudgels for these victims, no? At we all agree that vigilante killings should not be allowed in our country. Tama ho, no?
Tama po. As long as there's witness, we are going to file these cases. And as per OIC PG Ganya, we are still in the process of collating this data.
Would those interagencies, USIC or SEO, be able to get better numbers or more definite numbers? Or you have those numbers wala lang sa inyo right now?
Maybe, Your Honor, we'll seek assistance from the PDEA, Your Honor, to get the real numbers on cases filed in relation to drugs, Your Honor.
Kasi ang PDEA yung magpa-file. Hindi, but these are murders eh. We don't even know anymore kung drug related to o hindi,
Yes,
no?
exactly, Your Honor.
So, would they have been taken up in your interagency?
No, not Your Honor. I will get data from the PDEA and for submission to this committee, Your Honor.
Alright. So yung mga legitimate police operations, usually that goes to the internal affairs, no? So may sariling proseso ang PNP, if I'm not mistaken, Secretary?
I believe so, Your Honor.
So that's a separate issue, no?
The internal affairs or the police could determine whether there is a necessity of filing a case against this policeman in a criminal case.
And in fairness, there have been cases filed, no? We had talked about it before in hearings here, no? Yung pinatay sa loob nung kulungan, no? Not the Albuera case, no? This is another case, no? Yung sa Pasay. They were charged with murder. Is that correct, Secretary Aguirre?
That's right, Your Honor.
All right. So there have been cases where policemen have been cases have been filed against policemen who have killed inside jails, no, Secretary?
That's right po.
All right. Now, but we're talking here about the vigilante killings, no, na umaabot na rin po ng libo-libo. Is that safe to say? Can I say that?
I believe so, that it is more than 1,000.
All right. So more than 1,000, no? So more than 1,000 cases, gusto ko nating malaman kung naging kaso ba talaga o hindi. Kasi ang kutob ko rin po dito, Secretary, yung mga family members, syempre, takot silang lumabas kasi napasukan nga sila at may namatay sa kanilang bahay o malapit po sa kanilang bahay. Matatakot po yung mga family members. The state must take the cudgels for these family members. And we don't even know really if they're drug pushers, drug addicts, or just mistaken identity. Hindi pa po ito na-imbestiga, if I'm not mistaken.
I could not generalize, Your Honor, but I believe that this extrajudicial killings could have been investigated or perhaps archived for lack of witnesses.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I have other questions. I yield to Senator Dillon.
Yes. So, okay, 3,050 according to Undersecretary Orseo are the persons who per record died in legitimate police operations.
Yes, Your Honor, as of May 2017.
As of May
2017.
May 2017. Okay. Now, Secretary Aguirre said in his estimate, vigilante killings could go beyond 1,000.
That's right.
So we can say that as of May or as whatever date, there can be more or less admittedly over 4,000 killings, which are allegedly related to the campaign against illegal drugs, 3,000 of which are deaths arising from legitimate police operations, and the balance of over 4,000 on balance beyond 1,000 plus would be vigilante killings, or a total of over 4,000.
Yes,
Yes, now.
yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
And out of these over 4,000, we are not, we don't have a report yet as to the number of cases investigated by the NBI as a result of Department Order number 20. Wala pang report. Ni isa.
I think the report is forthcoming.
The report will be made and will be forthcoming.
And in 2 minutes, it will be, it will arrive here.
It will arrive after it is made. Di ba? See.
Minutes daw. You said in a few minutes.
I said in
a few days.
20 minutes, Your Honor. So give or take a few minutes.
Can you please
Good morning, Senator Cynthia.
I'm sorry, I've not recognized, Senator, we recognize Senator Cynthia Villar.
No, masabi niya in a few minutes. Hindi pa kita na-recognize.
Madam Chair, I think the NBI is already in
We
receipt.
recognize Director Geran, please.
Thank you, Madam Legarda. Good morning, Ma'am Senator Villar. As promised earlier, the NBI will be submitting the report on the cases investigated about drug-related killings.
Sorry, can you speak?
Drug-related killings. At the moment, while we are still waiting for the report, for regional operations, we have 30 for regional operations.
30
cases of referred drug-related killings.
30 investigations.
Yes,
Okay, for
Mr. Senator.
drug-related killings, okay.
Pending right now, pending is 24, and we have recommended 3.
How many?
Three
3.
for prosecution, and we had closures of 3 also, and that makes 30.
What's the other 3? 3 for prosecution, 3
Closure.
Okay, okay.
And for Manila, we have 7.
What is Manila? Part of the 7 part of the 30?
No, it's different.
Okay.
Okay. All in all, we have 37. 30 in the regions and 7 in the NCR.
Ano po ang time frame niyan?
Ma'am, we're still waiting for the report from the NBI. Maybe
Okay,
it's
so-
on the traffic.
Okay, so out of the over 4,000 deaths related to drugs, exactly 30 are undergoing 30 underwent investigation or undergoing investigation, 24 of which are pending, 3 of which were recommended for prosecution, 3 were recommended for closure, and then 7 from the NCR. So at least we know the data. You know naman ang
4,000 or 3,000?
there are, you know, as testified to, the 3,050 are deaths related to legitimate police operations as of May 2017. So it does not include June, July, August. Number 2,
From what month? From what month is the 3,000?
from June, July 1,
July last year and as of May,
May
this
20
year, Your Honor.
now.
July 1, 2016 to May 2017.
Yes, Your Honor.
3,007.
3,050.
50. How did it get to 4,000?
Because there was an admission that in addition to the 3,050 deaths arising from killings in legitimate police operations, so-called, there are over 1,000 more which are vigilante killings, as admitted by Secretary Aguirre.
So I just wanted to clarify that the statements of Senator Dillon are actually called, those are facts, based on facts, Secretary.
With respect to
4,000.
the 3,050 product of legitimate police operation, that is, I think, based on factual, based on facts. But with respect to my estimate, that's only my estimate.
Yes,
Your Honor.
we didn't say that. We said this is a statement of the Secretary of Justice. I want to rely on the data of the Secretary of Justice. Otherwise, I cannot rely on the data of any other official of the Department of Justice.
Chairman,
May I interject?
Senator Aquino.
Maybe also, although we will be asking the PNP this question, but maybe since you're already collating data, ilan ho ba talaga yung over 1,000 na yun? Ano po ba yung ating official number? Baka ho, you can share with us.
I'm sorry, Mr. Senator, I'm not in a position to make the breakdown at this moment.
Wala sa inyo yun, nasa PNP yun. Is that what you're saying? Okay, let me ask Director Giran, bakit ho?
Just before you go, can we have, since you are going to submit to us reports, can you include in your report these vigilante killings related to the drug campaign?
We will,
Thank you.
Mr. Senator.
Yes. So hahanapin niyo yan sa PNP, no? Because it's not with you. Those figures aren't with you, Secretary.
May I ask the Secretary, the 1,000 came from, yes, 1,000 plus came from your own statement. May I just know, Secretary, what is your source of that? Is it the NBI or the PNP? Of the 1,000 plus alleged vigilante killings?
I think, Madam Chair, that's a information collated or forwarded to us to the office of the Secretary, which I needed when I went on a visit to the United States. And one of the topics that I would answer or be question about is with respect to this killings related to drug. So,
Sino po ang source na agency ng government ng 1,000 alleged vigilante killings?
it's the police.
The PNP. And so may the request of Senator Drilon is perhaps an official document from the police so that this is not just hearsay in a committee hearing, or we could really ask the police, the PNP as well.
Well, anyway, the
DILG budget.
Secretary said he received this report from the PNP as part of his preparation when he went abroad. So can we have a copy of that report?
We will look for it, Mr. Senator, and we're going to furnish the Senate.
You will look for it, baka nawala? Hindi naman.
Hindi naman po.
Okay.
It's just there. Chairman, if I may, just to Director Giran, I'm wondering lang ho, bakit 37 lang yung cases na naka-refer ho sa inyo out of more or less 4,000 deaths? No? Is it because kapag wala naman hong nahuli, wala naman hong kaso? Is that it? Kaya konti lang po yun? Yes, Secretary.
Mr. Senator, actually, under the new NBI law, the NBI is not empowered to conduct this investigation of these killings. So they are not empowered under the new NBI law.
So what are the 37 with them?
What I'm saying is that because it's only because of my department order 120 that I empowered the NBI. Because under the NBI law, specific lamang po yung mga powers o yung mga crimes na pwede lang imbestigahan. As a matter of fact, ordinary deaths are not covered by the NBI. They could not even investigate deaths, ordinary deaths. Sabi kong ganyan eh. But
first, yes, their jurisdiction is limited to specific cases. But there is a clause there which provides you authority to direct the NBI to conduct any other investigation. So you have the authority.
That's precisely what
No, let me finish. And I was the one who wrote that law. Okay? Because as Secretary of Justice before, I knew that there was a lot of overlapping between the PNP and the NBI. That we wanted the NBI to be in more difficult, sophisticated, syndicated crimes, not only ordinary crimes. That's why we define clearly what is the jurisdiction. But in order to allow the NBI to investigate other cases, we wrote the law so that the Secretary of Justice or the President is given the power to direct the NBI to conduct any other investigation. And this is also necessary. The definition, the delineation is necessary because before the NBI was, before the time of Director Giran here, and I don't know if it's still existing, the NBI was the collection agency of certain parties who would bring bouncing checks, utang, iniimbestigan ng NBI, and it was giving the NBI a bad name. That is why we said no. They should be with the police so that there is a distinction between what the NBI can do and what the police should do. But give that authority, to the Secretary of Justice to investigate, for the NBI to investigate anything. So it is not, that is the rationale behind that. It is not as if we decapitated the investigatory power of the NBI.
Tama po yun. Actually, the department order stated February 2016. And so we could not expect the NBI to investigate extrajudicial killings or related to drugs before that date, because they have yet no power. It was only in February 2016 that 2017 that I gave the NBI that power.
You had the power to direct the NBI to conduct that investigation. And that you did not do so before February 20, 2017 are only for reasons known to you, Mr. Secretary. You had the power.
I had the power, Your Honor, but the police, we have the PNP, and I could not direct the NBI every time there's a killing related to drugs to conduct a parallel investigation. Otherwise, the NBI will become the second PNP.
Well, anyway, that's already, we are here confronted with this situation where obviously from the over 4,000 killings, both from legitimate police operations and vigilante killings related to the drug campaign, about 37 has been so far the subject of investigation, and exactly 3 of which were recommended for prosecution. That's the data so far that we have received.
Yes, but just to reiterate, ito pong 37, paano niyo po napili itong 37 out of the 4,000 or out of the thousands in general?
Ulitin ko po. Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Ang na-file po ng NBI or ang natanggap po ng NBI na kaso doon sa from January to December of 2016, ang murder po ay 625. And ang na-file po namin kaso or ang na-terminate po namin kaso ay 622 po.
Yes.
Ang na-recommend namin po sa prosecution ay 118. And for homicide po, 74 po ang aming natanggap. And ang na-terminate po namin ay 87. Magtatanong bakit mas marami ang terminated. Ito po ay carry-over ito sa
Director, I think nabanggit nyo na po yan kanina, no?
Okay, sir.
Gusto kong malaman, yung 37, the 37 that you had mentioned to Senator Dillon, that is subsumed in your report, no? Kasama po yan.
Opo, sir.
Itong 37, ito po yung tinatawag nating drug-related.
Drug-related.
Okay. Paano po yan nakarating sa inyo? Kayo po ba'y nag-usa na we will investigate these 37 cases? Were they referred to you by the Secretary, for example? Paano po yan umabot po sa NBI?
Yung iba po ay nirepair po, ang pagkaalam ko, nirepair po, galing po sa Secretary po.
Alright.
And then, kaya lang po ay kukunti lang po aming naimbestigahan po or na-prosecute. Dahil po, unang-una is there was that adamant from the complainants, supposed to be complainants themselves. Hindi sila pumunta sa amin. Kung pumunta man, pumunta isang araw, and then malalaman mo lang na hindi na babalik, wala nang interest. At ang pinaka problema po, Mr. Senator po, yung testigo po.
Oo. But that's understandable naman, Director Giran, kung kayo namatayan, most likely takot talaga yung mga family members na magtestigo, kung mga kapitbahay na magtestigo. Are you providing them any support or pinoprotektahan niyo ba sila? Siyempre, kung ikaw mismo napasukan yung bahay mo, pinatay yung katabi mo, pinatay yung kamag-anak mo, magdadalawang isip ka talaga na magtestigo.
Alam niyo po, Mr. Senator, may nabaril, may napatay po na isang piskalya doon sa Rizal. yung latest, si Fiscal Ronatay po, babae po. Sa totoo lang po, sir, para bigyan po ng gobyerno ng parang to give them support, no? Pamilya, para mag-complain po. Ako po ay mismong kusang loob na pumunta doon sa scene of the crime. I mean, doon sa opisina po ng Chief Fiscal Liedo ng Rizal. Ako pong pumunta doon po, sir, para ipapakita sa taong bayan talagang the government is not taking lightly killings like this. Especially po that it involves prosecutor.
So, hindi ko ka-familiar sa kasong yan. Was it driving by tandem kaya siya namatay? Or was it is this drug-related? Or
there is
assassination? Ano ho to?
There is an appearance of a relation to drug case because of the cases that she used to handle in that particular area.
So, parang binilikan siya ng mga nahuli niya?
It appears.
Parang ganun po?
It appears, Mr. Senator.
Alright. And in that case, fiscal na nga yung napatay at nahihirapan pa rin po tayong kumuha ng testigo. Is that what you're saying?
Opo, sir.
Alright. Yung mga witnesses po dyan, pwede ba silang maipasok sa Witness Protection Program?
The Witness Protection Program will only come later if talagang may kaso na, may testigo na, may gano'n na.
So in the preliminary phase, ano pong support ang may bibigay nyo sa mga potential na mga magtitestigo? Wala.
It was a statement of mine, but there were cases in the past where the DOJ, Department of Justice, would place witnesses or the family under the Witness Protection Program even before the filing of the case.
And that's in the budget. Nasa budget ho yan. Kasi this is a budget hearing, so I just want to be clear. Meron bang suporta para sa mga posibleng Secretary? Meron po ba?
Opo. Actually, yan nga ang malamang na baka ma-exhaust ang pondo ng WPP because maraming nagtitake advantage niyan.
But Director Giran was saying yung WPP comes later. Ito kung kahit yung sa una pa lang na gusto magtestigo, meron na bang, pwede na ba silang kupkupin? Meron ba kayong facilities to house them?
Opo. Actually, generally, ganun na nangyari pag na-file ng kaso. But palagi kong ini-emphasize even my interviews that even when the case still in the preliminary investigation stage, we could already put a witness under the Witness Protection Program.
Meron na, wala pa kaso. Meron na po ba kayong nailagay sa Witness Protection Program on a drug-related case?
Wala, sir. Wala. Yun lang sa legislative natin. Nakulang go.
Yung po, wala pa po ako na tatandaan, but it was during the congressional investigation of the House about these high-profile inmates, where we put, upon request of the House, these witnesses be put under the Witness Protection Program.
Ang nangyayari ko kasi, yung mga testigo, pupunta sila sa media. No, hindi sila pupunta sa mga kinauukulan. That's what's happening now. That's why you have news articles about family members talking about their relatives being killed. Hindi sila lumalapit sa mga sa inyo because ang pakiramdam mo nila hindi nyo sila kakampi. Now, that's why I asked the question, how many cases are actually being prosecuted regarding the vigilante killings? May nahuli na ba tayo? Are there actual cases? And I think you don't have the data yet, no? Pero gusto ko nating malaman yung data na yun.
Opo, Mr. Santo, wala pa po. Kinukulay po natin.
Thank you.
We recognize Senator Villar. Thank you.
I'm here in behalf of the small farmers and fisher folks who remain the poorest in this country. We just want the Department of Justice to report on what they have done with regards to the cases of existence of cartels and smuggling in the Philippines, especially the cartel on agricultural products and the smuggling of agricultural products. Since I sat as chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Food in 2013, For 1 year in 2013, I investigated the smuggling of rice in the Philippines, and we have pinpointed the smuggler of rice, but unfortunately, no cases has been filed against them. Have been filed against them since then, and this is 2017. It's 4 year, 4 year hence. And at the same time, in 2014, we investigated the existence of cartel in the garlic industry, and the Office of Competition of the Department of Justice have reported that there is really a cartel, and they named the members of the cartel, and they described the modus operandi of the cartel, but up to now, no cases have been filed against this cartel. So I just want to clarify what the Department of Justice will do with regards to these cases of smuggling of rice and cartel of garlic, and as well as the smuggling of garlic in the Philippines. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair. Since this it's a case that being asked by the good senator, may I ask that OICPG Severino Ganya be the one to answer, because this is in regards to the filing of a case against these cartels.
Attorney Ganya is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Villar, I've spoken to the members of the panel, and they promised me to resolve it next week. So I assure you, by next week, the case, there are about 136 respondents in this case. And the 2 respondents, direct bribery, were filed with the Ombudsman. But with the rest, by next week, we will have the resolution. They will submit to me the resolution of the case.
It says here in your report that you furnished my office in June 8, 2016, case was deemed submitted for resolution by reason of complainant's failure to submit the reply affidavit within the 10-day period given from the May 25, 2016 preliminary investigation hearing.
Yes.
Who is the complainant you're talking about? It's supposed to be a government case against cartel, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sino tong complainant na sinasabi nyo na nag-fail to submit the reply affidavit? Complainant, that means the one who's complaining, not the ones we are prosecuting.
The NBI, Your Honor.
So they failed? The NBI failed?
Reply.
Why will the NBI fail? And the NBI is part of your group, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe there's no need for them to reply. That's why.
But it says here, case was deemed submitted for resolution by reason of complainant's failure to submit their reply affidavit within the 10-day period. So this is against the complainant.
Yes, I know, but they may or they may not.
So this will not be taken against us.
No, Your Honor.
So you are not dismissing the case because the complainant failed to submit their reply affidavit.
No.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but that's how I see this. So I just want some clarification that it will not be taken against the government. That they failed to submit their reply affidavit, because if that is the case, you will dismiss the case because of this failure of the complainant to submit, and of course that will be prejudicial to the government.
Be assured, Your Honor, that the members of the panel will submit to me the resolution, and I will review it myself.
Because, Secretary, there was a complete report issued by the Office of Competition of the DOJ of the previous administration, and it is complete. But unfortunately, as chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Food, which did the hearing here in the Senate, I failed to receive that. But it was given to me by a media person. And as I read the complaint, the annex was not there, the list of people involved in the cartel. I had to ask them to give the annex because when I read the report, there was a statement there that there is an annex with a list of those involved in the cartel. So I asked them, so I got the annex. So I just wonder if they're really losing the annex and they're really losing the report, so there will be no cases filed. So I just want to be clarified that we will, just like what happened in the rice smuggling, nothing will be filed with regards to this garlic cartel.
Yes, Madam Senator, we are sorry for that. There could be some inadvertence because in the records of the office, it appears that it has to be sent to your office, but we could not find.
And even the Department of Agriculture didn't receive the report. I had to give them the report, and because of the non-submission of the report, both to me and the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Agriculture, BPI, Bureau of Plant Industry, has continued to give import permit to these members of the cartel. The report was made in 2014. They continued to give import permits to this cartel in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017.
We are really very sorry for that, Madam Senator, but this happened, or this was filed before the new administration took over, but there could be some really or even anomalies.
That's why I'm bringing this up.
I could admit that, and we would like to rectify this by giving the Honorable Senator whatever documents she needs.
And when did we pass the Philippine Competition Law? 2 years ago. 2 years ago, today is 2017, that's 2015. Under the Philippine Competition Law, the responsibility of prosecuting cartel will be divided between the Department of Justice and the Philippine Competition Commission. The Philippine Competition Commission will handle the civil liability, and the Department of Justice will handle the criminal liability. So you have to proceed with your criminal cases, and we will submit the findings. It's your findings, it's not ours. I read the findings. We will submit it to the Philippine Competition Commission for them to determine how much civil liability they will, how much money they will penalize the members of the cartel. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And so I just want this clarified because I remember in 2013, our President Duterte was one of the witnesses in our hearing against the rice cartel. So I think he's really interested also to prosecute the rice cartel and the rice smuggler. He was one of our witnesses in 2013. But unfortunately, no rice smuggler was ever prosecuted. In fact, David Bangayan, who is the most famous of them all, was charged with electrical theft by Meralco. It was not about smuggling, okay? So it's ironical that our famous rice smuggler was charged with electrical theft. And I remember he was arrested here in the halls of the Senate for electrical theft, and no rice smuggling cases was ever filed against David Bangayan and D.G. Lim of Cebu. For your information, D.G. Lim is the brother of Peter Lim. Magkapatid sila, ha?
And
Rice, oo. And then, and then, and, and then,
ako'y nababagabag sa mga sinasabi ni Senator Villar. Just because I was not able to attend those hearings, can you just name me the rice, garlic, and what's the other smuggling?
no, it's rice and garlic. Because the onion, what they do to cartel is not to, kasi may production tayo ng onion, kaya hindi masyadong makartel. Okay. Yung garlic kasi, we only produce 8%, so it's all imported.
Okay, so sa rice smuggling, it's David Bangayan and
D.G. Lim.
D.G. Lim. And they're still smuggling up to now?
I think so.
And it's allowed. I mean, that's not allowed, it's tolerated. So, could we request the Secretary to, how's that? No cases have been filed.
In fairness to the Secretary, this happened in 2013. Correct. I'm bringing this up because maybe we will have a chance now, okay? And then, I remember when we were ending our term in 2016, the senators decided to pass the law declaring large-scale agricultural smuggling as economic sabotage and non-bailable, kasi we felt that we cannot depend on the DOJ to file any cases, so might as well maybe they will be afraid if they're rich people, so they don't want to be, kasi pag economic sabotage, non-bailable, they go to jail before the prosecution, di ba? So, kaya namin pinasa yun para matakot-takot naman kasi no cases were filed against them after 3 years. So, sana ngayon, ang request ko lang kay DOJ, maybe you will assign to us a person na pag may nakita kaming smuggling or cartel, we will coordinate with him kasi ang hirap din makipag-usap sa buong Department of Justice. Hindi mo malaman kung sino kakausapin mo.
Okay. May tanong ako. Maganda yung 2013, bago pa po panahon nyo, 1 taon pa po lang kayo, ay wala pa pong case na final, pero lahat na ng findings sa Senate hearing, nandiyan na po, we can give you a copy. Can you handle it so that cases can be filed?
I think the DOJ has.
They already have
it. Pinas-aresto pa nga si David Bangayan in the hall of.
In 2013.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago.
And then in 2014, they made a report. The Office of Competition of the DOJ made a report, a complete report. Naandun yung pangalan, naandun yung modus operandi, naandun na sinabi nilang that there is really a cartel.
Okay. Secretary, ano po ang recourse? Ganito na po, alam natin, may prueba na po, pero takot lahat ng taong nag-file ng kaso. The DOJ can just file a case, right?
Yes, Madam Chair, Senator Villar. Actually, even before this hearing, I remember that this name, Ed Bangayan, has been David Bangayan. It's been very...
Ed Bangayan is the one from Cebu who is not related to David Bangayan, and he is a friend of the President.
That's
so,
right.
let's make the, baka kawawa naman si Ed Bangayan from Davao. Yung David Bangayan, taga Manila yun.
That's my mistake. Actually, Ed Bangayan is my client, was my client. Anyway,
smuggler.
Anyway, yes.
David Bangayan from Manila. And Mr. Lim, anong pangalan ng Lim? DG Lim from Cebu. Okay.
So alam kong talagang nabinbin yan dun sa sa NBI. So because the name has been kept coming up, so I think I made a directive to the NBI to resuscitate the dead investigations in the NBI. So with respect to your request that we make a point person in connection with this smuggling, we are
Cultural smuggling, Secretary.
any kind of smuggling.
No, well, I'm just concerned about agricultural smuggling, okay? Because the other industry, they're rich also, so they can take care of themselves. But the problem with agriculture is we're dealing with the welfare of small farmers and fisher folks. They cannot take care of themselves. So I'm taking the cudgels for them na tulungan sila kasi reklamo sila ng reklamo. Yung mga ibang na victim of smuggling, they are as rich. So, they can take care of themselves.
Ang maa-assign ninyo at anong action po ang gagawin ng DOJ sa request ni Senator?
Okay. First, I would like to thank Senator Villar for informing us of this long process against these smugglers. But we are nominating to be our focal person in connection with this smuggling requested by Senator Villar, our USEC Antonio Ricci Co. Jr.
Nor.
They have the same name.
But not related. Okay. So, doon na lang kami makiki-coordinate. Alam nyo, worried ako dito kasi we computed how much they're earning from rice smuggling. I think it's minimum 10 billion a year. And sa garlic, we consume 10,000 metric tons of garlic a month. Makartel lang nila ng 100 pesos yun. In a month, it's 1 billion. Pag 200 pesos, 2 billion. So, we're talking of big money here. And I hope that we can overcome this. So, yun lang po. Kaya I'm very worried.
Yung garlic, sino yung garlic cartel?
Lea Cruz, at saka meron siyang 3 grupo. It's a long list. It's 2 pages, 3 pages.
136 respondents.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, may we hear from the NBA Director after what they did after my memo to him with respect to this David Bangayan.
Thank you, sir. Madam Chair, I would like to recognize Attorney Rachel Marfil Angeles of the NBI.
Good morning, Your Honors. I am Rachel Angeles. I'm the Chief of the Anti-Graft Division of the NBI. I would like to inform the body here that when Secretary De Lima returned all our evidence of more or less 20 boxes last 2014, there was an instruction to substantiate it with the identity of David Tan as David Bangayan. As of now, we are still looking for our witness who disappeared after the elections. And it
was President Duterte who said you are David Tan and you are David Bangayan.
Yes, Your Honor, but we have another witness.
It's the President who said that in our hearing. So you better take care of it. Kasi siya nagsabi mismo, pinakita niya pa sa akin ng picture.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because this David Bangayan was also operating in the port of Davao. Nag-i-smuggle din sila sa port of Davao. In fact, sa takot nung galit kasi si President Duterte noon, mayor pa siya, sa takot niya kay Mayor Duterte, nag-resign yung port port, ng BOC sa Davao. For the first time, oo, may nag-resign, you know, they don't resign, yung mga Bureau of Customs chief, pero nag-resign kasi takot na takot siya kay Mayor Duterte kasi sabi niya, papatayin ko kayo pag pumunta kayo dito sa Davao. I remember that very well. So, huwag mo sabihin sa akin na hanggang ngayon, hindi na sa substantiate si David Tan is David Bangayan. So, di nagsasabi ng totoo ang ating presidente.
No, Your Honor, I was referring to another witness, a private citizen. He had a transaction with David Bangayan. And the problem with our evidence was during the rice cartel investigation.
Ngayon, nag-smuggle pa siya sa atin ngayon. The large-scale agricultural smuggling as economic sabotage and non-bailable, hindi na kailangang ma-prosecute sila. Makulong lang sila ng ilang buwan habang sila pino-prosecute para matakot-takot naman sila. Kaya namin ipinasa yun. Nawawalan na kasi kaming pag-asa that our justice system would work. Kaya kami, nag-usap-usap kami sa Senado, ipasa na natin to para matakot-takot naman habang iniimbestigahan, nakakulong, siguro naman magpapalit na sila ng negosyo pag ano. Kasi alam nyo, ang yayaman nila Actually, they can go legal kasi they have money. Except that they go smuggling because they think they can get away with it. Pero pag ikaw, economic sabotage, kulong ka bago ka mapakawalan, medyo kung mayaman ka, ayaw mo na noon, maybe you'll go legal na. Diba? That's the intent of the law. Kasi nawalan na kami ng pag-asa sa DOJ that they will be able to prosecute these people. Kasi mayayaman to kung ikaw ba naman kumikita ng 10 billion a year, bakit naman hindi ka get away with prosecution? Mayayaman talaga sila. In fact, that's what the President was saying, that this drug lord cannot be prosecuted because they're so rich. They will just give you money and everything will be forgotten. Kaya ako, hindi ko na hinahanap sa inyo na i-prove nyo pa si David Bangayan, si David Lim, file nyo ng kaso, ikulong nyo, at kung 6 na buwan man lang makulong, masaya na ako doon. Okay lang yun.
Bago ka sa budget nila, dapat nakakulong nila. Kasi wala na tayong pag-asa.
Yes, ma'am na lang po. Yes, ma'am.
Asking DOJ to file one case for cartel, one case for smuggling, para lang makita natin sa kanila that we mean business. Hindi na baling, kahit nga hindi nyo mapahatulan, basta makulong lang ng 6 months, okay na yun sa akin.
We will test the validity of the law on large-scale economic sabotage.
Tapos na IRR niyan. In fact, I was asking Paldon how many cases he has filed since matapos ang IRR. Sabi niya 3. And meron pa daw 6 na darating. So, hanapin nyo na yon kasi he has filed.
So, it should be with our National Prosecution Service.
That's why I'm bringing this up kasi sayang naman yung mga pinapasa namin batas, wala pa rin nangyayari after all this year. We passed that in 2016 and we really made sure that the IRR will be finished and it was finished siguro June, July. So, nag-file na daw siya ng 3 cases. And then, meron daw waiting na 6 cases. Kaya nga, lahat ng affair ng BOC, napunta ako just to make sure na magfa-file si BOC Chairman, Commissioner Faldon, para naman matest namin kung we made the right law. Di ba? Kasi yun yung, kaya namin pinasa sa Senado yung law na yun. Kasi nga, we were so frustrated that after 4 years, no cases was filed to anybody for smuggling and for cartel.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hindi naman itong law nito for cartel. This is for smuggling. The cartel one is the Philippine competition law. So, dalawa sila. Paanda rin naman natin, sayang naman yung hirap namin doon sa law. Thank you.
Opo, at thank you very much for your prodigious memory on this. And rest assured, Madam Senator, that we are going to expedite our actions on this.
Si Yusek ko naman, amazing memory.
So there should be pending cases now before our National Prosecution Service.
Bago mapasa ang budget nyo, ay meron na pong maski hindi nakatulan, na-filean, nasampulan, dahil ano pa inaantay natin? Nandiyan na yung mga dokumento, nandiyan na yung prueba, may batas na, at naghihirap ang ating mga magsasaka sa patuloy na smuggling ng agricultural products.
Yes, Madam Chair.
We're not saying naman, hindi natin sinasabing magpakulong ng taong walang ginagawang masama. Wala silang pakialam ilang taon na Yeah. I agree with Senator Villar. Yes, okay. Si Senator Drilon, umalis na? Yes, we recognize Senator Bam, if you're...
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Actually, my questions are different from the EJK questions earlier. I just jumped into that topic because there were some data that we wanted to see. I'd like to begin with questions about the Bureau of Corrections. I don't know if it's OIC, sorry, he's outside, no? Si OIC Director or Secretary Aguirre can answer. Maybe Secretary Aguirre can answer in the meantime. There was a change in personnel last July. The Director then, De Los Santos, resigned, no?
That's right.
Can you give us some details about that, what happened and what led to his resignation?
I was receiving many reports about some sort of resurgence of drugs in the NBP. So I talked to Director De Los Santos about this. But of course, these are just reports. I do not have clear evidence on the matter, but reports kept coming in, so I believe that there must be some truth to this. So after I was the one who came out on the media of this resurgence based upon reports I was receiving. And after that, the people at the Bucor said that there was no resurgence. And then on the anniversary of the NICA and the National Security Council, the President made a speech, and it seems that he believed that from his information also that there was resurgence of drug. The following day, Director De Los Santos submitted his irrevocable resignation and immediately left the Bucor. I said then that you couldn't leave the Bucor because the President has not yet accepted your resignation. But in view of this reminder from me, what he submitted is a leave of absence. So that leave of absence still up, and the President has not acted on that resignation. So technically, he is still the Director General of the Bucor.
Right. So Secretaries, sorry if I may just add a question. No? So this is all because of the resurgence of the drug trade again in Bilibid, no, specifically.
That's right.
So categorically, meron ba talagang resurgence o wala?
Meron po.
Meron po. Can you help us understand how the drug trade in Bilibid happens? Did it wane for a while? Nawala ba to for a while tapos bumalik, or it never actually left Bilibid?
Actually, talaga pong nawala yan. When the SAF 400 SAF troopers conducted its first initial, first galugad on July 20, 2016, the drug trades involving about 70 to 75 90% of the drug trades throughout the Philippines stop, completely stop. Because talagang mahigpit, magandang trabaho ng mga SAF troopers. But they are only guarding the maximum and Building 14. Building 14, as we know, is the detention center for the highest of the profile, highest profile drug lords. Yung building, yung maximum, ganun din po. Nandun din yung karamihan because they could not be accommodated sa Building 14, which could only accommodate about 50 to 60 high-profile inmates. But when I came up with my announcement that there could be possible resurgence of drug trade in the Bilibid, so from completely zero after that July 20, 2016 galugad, when I came out in the press, I think it is in the initial stage, mga 5% having resurgence. So sabi kong ganyan, kinausap ko yung Director General. Sabi ko, hindi maganda yung lumalabas kasi parang although nakakahuli tayo through the help of the NBP, kasi po nakipag-ugnayan itong Director General natin sa outside law enforcers para lang mahuli natin yung iba. Pero sabi kong ganyan, ba't tayo makikialam pa dyan sa outside arrest ng mga drug lords? Sabi ko, let's concentrate dito sa loob kasi dito lang sa loob, hindi natin kaya ang problema eh. So, what happened? Unang-una po, I would like to that my power sa Bilibid as parang na-emasculated na rin, no? Because the only power I have over Bucor is only supervisory. Nagiging kwan lamang po ako, yung control kung merong quasi-judicial matters, but that's very rare. So as of now, hindi ko up to now, for the last 3 days ago, wala pang, because he went on leave, wala pang na-appoint dun sa 3 directors. Directors for Administration, Deputy Director Administration, Reformation, and Security and Operation. So, ang pinaka-highest officer lamang po ng Bucor ay si Director Ray Ragas, na nilagay ko doon kasi walang nagmaman eh. So, but I talked to the President, Mr. Bongo, yesterday, and I believe that by last night, na-sign na yung kanilang appointment. And but before that, on July 4, 2017, I issued a department order directing the NBI to conduct investigation over resurgence of illegal drugs. Kaya nag-conduct ang investigation ng NBI. But I'm sorry to say that I am not satisfied with the progress investigation report being given to me. Kaya sabi ko, continue. As a matter of fact, I said to the director of the NBI to change the team conducting the investigation, because I noticed that the most high profile of the author of the resurgence was not even included in the report. So, I said, anong klaseng investigation ang ginawa nyo dito na yung pinaka-kontrabida ay wala man lang dun sa report. So, that's why it's very urgent. I've been following our appointees or our nominees to the President, to the Office of the President. Siguro mga 2 weeks na eh. Pero hopefully kahapon it was so. The President himself ordered that the papers be given to him for signing last night.
All right, Secretary, thank you. Director Giran, the Secretary referred to an NBI investigation that was not up to his standards. Now, maybe you can shed some light on that. Hindi ho ba yung drug trade sa Bilibid is hinged on their ability to contact the outside? Hindi ho ba yun yung pinaka-linchpin naman talaga doon? Kapag nakakontakt sila sa labas, doon natutuloy yung drug trade. Is that right? Or that's too simple an understanding?
Mr. Senator, I am not ready to reveal things like that because we don't want to preempt whatever investigation that we're having right now.
Okay, all right. But you are undergoing an investigation of the resurgence of the drug trade in Bilibid.
That's right.
And kailan kayo matatapos sa inyong investigation?
We would like to finish this as soon as possible, Mr. Senator.
All right. Secretary Aguirre, nasabi ho ninyo yung, was that Building 14?
Building 14 in maximum.
Yun ho yung nakabantay talaga yung SAF, no?
SAF, dalawa lamang.
So does this mean that the resurgence is not with those usual suspects pero sa ibang grupo na?
Ang nangyari po ay ganito. Yung mga high-profile inmates na naka-confine sa Building 14 and maximum na-transfer sa medium na hindi gwardyado ng SAF. Eh, doon ako nagtataka eh. Bakit mo ita-transfer yan?
Who does that directive? Who allows that?
Well, sabi ko nga po, because of the emasculation of my power, so wala na, I could not even order the transfer of one inmate from one compound to another. Kaya I presume that they are perhaps you could ask, OIC Yuko Ragas who made the transfer. But yun ang pinagtatak ko. Bakit nagkaroon ng transfer yan?
So just to be clear, Secretary, pinagtatakhan mo sa mga nasa Bucor kung bakit nila ginawa yun. Okay.
That's right.
Director Abbas, you may respond.
Good morning, Senators. The transfer of the high-profile inmates was made late 2016 pa, and I assumed office last July lang.
Oh, ba't di nyo binalik?
No, the high-profile inmates are already in Building 14.
So they were never transferred to medium?
They were transferred to medium before.
Can you be specific? Anong buwan po yun?
Sir, can I ask our superintendent from the NBP for the specific numbers?
So, Secretary, you're saying that kung natili sila sa Building 14 na nakabantay po yung SAF, hindi po babalik yung droga sa Bilibid. Is that a basic assumption?
I believe so, but isa yun sa pinaka-rason. So, kasi sabi kong ganyan, ba't dapat tayo makialam sa drug arrest ng drug trading or drug syndicate outside of the prison?
Okay, tanongin natin si... Yes, sir. May you state your name, please?
Ako po si Superintendent Roberto Rabo.
Roberto? Rabo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sige, yung tanong po ni Director Abbas, kailan po nailipat sa medium yung mga high-profile drug lords ho natin? Can I call them that? High-profile inmates, no? High-profile inmates ho natin.
Actually, sir, iba-ibang buwan ho yan, sir. Kasi naging bahagi yan, sir, doon sa tinatawag na co-plan operation. Okay. Ito pong co-plan operation, dalawa po to. Yung pang sinasabi nilang Alcatraz at doon sa Uplan Pagbabago. Yung pong plan na Alcatraz, yan po yung operation na hinahandle ng lahat ng ating mga PNP. Yung Uplan Pagbabago, ito po yung hinahandle ng ating mga NBI. So, dahil po sa drugs, no, kinakailan mahuli po yung mga drugs na yan. At kaya po, yung mga information na nakukuha po ay ibinibigay po yun ng ating direktor.
So are you saying nililipat sila para makapag-transact, para mahuli ninyo?
Hindi, sir. Ang niyan, kinakailangan po ang ano doon, mahuli ho eh. Mahuli yung mga drugs na yan.
With the intention na yung mga kapartner nila sa labas mahuli din?
Yes, sir.
So parang sting operation yan?
Yes, sir. Operation po yan.
So knowingly, nililipat sila sa areas na less secure para may makausap sila sa labas, para mahuli yung mga nasa labas. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Parang ganoon.
Opo, sir.
That doesn't seem to make too much sense to me, no? Secretary Aguirre, would you want to comment?
And that's precisely what I was telling or trying to impart to you, Mr. Senator. Hindi ko makita ang reason why these high-profile inmates will be transferred from maximum or from building 14, be transferred to the medium where
they're allowed to transact. No, in fact, ang sinasabi is they're allowed to transact.
Yun ang sinabi ko po kanina. They are allowed to transact para lang mahuli yung nasa labas. Sabi kong ganyan, ba't kinakailang makialang pa tayo dun sa paghuli sa labas? Samantalang dito lang sa loob, hindi natin kaya ang pag-contain ng drugs.
Yung ganyang pong operation, that's done in line with the police, right? Tama po?
Yes, sir.
So, meron mo kayong, you cannot do that on your own. Kayo po, di ba? You cannot. Wala ko kayong authority to run a sting operation.
Yes, sir.
So, sino kasama niyo po dito, ang kapulisan, ang NBI?
Pagkakaintindi ko po, yan po ay interagency po yan eh. So, kasama po yung mga law enforcement agencies natin.
So, this was a legitimate operation?
Yes.
Nailipat sila. Was the DOJ part of that interagency?
Yes, sir. Kasi kahit na nung panahon pa ni Secretary de Lima, meron na po yan.
Meron na yan. Itong year na kasama si Secretary Aguirre, kasama ba yung DOJ when that was determined?
I think so, sir. Kasama po.
So may DOJ representative sa interagency na yun. That's what you're saying?
Kasama po ang NBI po eh.
So,
is the DOJ the chairman of that interagency?
I think so, sir.
Alright, Secretary, kayo naman daw yung...
interagency. Who among us in the DOJ made any coordination with you? If somebody is, DOJ is part of this.
Secretary, can we refer to the chairman na lang? Just to be, please answer the question, sir. Sino po sa DOJ ang sumama sa inyo? That's the question, Secretary. Sino sa DOJ ang kasama ko ninyo na nandoon nung pinaplano po yung move na yun?
Actually, sir, ako po ay hindi po kasama dyan. No? So, ako po ay binibigyan lang ng instruction ng aming director.
Sinong director po yun?
Si Director De Los Santos.
Okay. Hindi. So, binibigyan kayo ng instructions na gawin yung operations na yun. But sa pagkakala po ninyo, may interagency na nangasiwa dun sa operations na yun.
Yes, sir.
At kasamang DOJ doon.
Kasi po, kahit...
Kasama ang NBI.
Kasama po. Yun ang pagkakaintindi ko.
Sino pa po ang kasama? PNP?
Kasama po ang PNP.
Okay. You're directed to provide information on the interagency. I think the DOJ would also want to see who are the individuals involved in this interagency. You weren't there. Hindi ko kayo present doon sa meeting na yun. Nung pinag-usapan po. You just implemented.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Sa pagkakalam mo ninyo, si Director De Los Santos was part of that interagency.
Yes, sir.
Siya mismo o representative po niya?
Yes, sir. Siya mismo.
Alright. Alam niyo ba kung sino yung ibang miyembro ng interagency?
Hindi, sir. Hindi ko, sir. Basta ang alam ko lang, sir, kasama ang police at ang NBI.
Director Abbas, since you are the OIC, would you be able to provide the DOJ and this committee, the members of that interagency? Or alam niyo na po ba kung sino?
Hindi pa po.
Anong buwan po yan ginawa? This is 2016 or 2017?
Ang interagency, sir?
Yung operations po ninyo na nilipat sa medium?
Actually, nag-start po yan kung hindi ako nagkakamali, mga January
of
2017.
So January 2017, is it still ongoing? O natigil na po?
Natigil na po, sir.
Okay, natigil nung naglabas ng may resurgence nga ng droga. Is that it? Ganun mo ba yung timeline dyan?
Hindi naman po tumitigil yun.
So hindi pa rin tumitigil? Okay. Well, this is, ano ba? Hirap po kasing intindihan. I can feel the frustration of some of our members here because galing kami dun sa Bureau of Customs hearing na bilyong-bilyong droga yung pumasok sa ating ports. And then now, of course, the news that our bilibid, meron pa ring drug trade. No? It's very frustrating, no? Na tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ito. Sige ho, maybe we can just look for that. Sino po yung member ng interagency who determined this sting operation? Director Agas, natigil na po yung operations na to.
Wala na po currently, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm not familiar with Director Agas's background. Matagal na po ba kayo sa Bucor?
Since this year lang, Your Honor.
Okay. Kayo po, matagal na po kayo sa Bucor, sir? As a NBP?
Na-appoint po ako noong July 21, 2016.
Alright, so bago rin, no? Would you be able to tell us if this type of operations is ginagawa ba talaga to regularly or ngayon na lang po to ginawa? I mean, normal ho ba itong operations? Yung pinapaubayan niyo yung mga high profile sa medium para makapag-transact sila? Tapos in the guise na or in the hope na may mahuhuli sa labas? Nangyayari na ho ba yan in the past?
Actually, sir, nakuhanan ko lang yan ng itong 2017.
So parang bagong operations to?
Yes, sir.
I know Director Giran doesn't want to comment, but has this always been operations run by the law enforcement? Even in the past? I mean, you don't have to talk about the current investigation.
Just the same, sir. I don't like to comment on that.
Okay, I will respect that. Alam ko may mga operations so kayo. Secretary, would you know if this is a regular... Kasi like, kunyari sa PNP, yung buy-bust, matagal na kong ginagawa yan, no? Ito po bang gantong estilo, matagal na rin ginagawa yan o ngayon lang?
Ito lang pong lately lang malaman ko eh. But tama yun, kung halimbawa 2017 na, then but I came to know about it when I came to the media that there's some sort of resurgence.
Right. So hindi niyo po, definitely hindi ho ito matagal nang ginagawa?
Definitely hindi po.
Alright, sige. So mukhang this is something that needs to be further investigated. Nasabi mo nyo, 5% of the drug trade na lang ang nangyayari dahil po dito sa estilong yan. Yung pagpasok po ng droga sa, I know this is not, you know, siguro naman po you're interested in that case also. Yung dami ho na yun, nagugulat ho kasi kami kasi parang tunay-tunilada po yung nakakapasok sa ports natin. Connected ho ba yun doon sa mga nasa Bilibid o ibang grupo po yan?
Malamang pong connected dyan kasi hindi po lang alam ng marami. The NBI was able to seize the biggest drug bust.
In January?
In December, where they confiscated 890 kilos of shabu.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was revealed naman in the customs hearing. It is connected to this last one, itong 604.
Magtataka kami nun. Nahuli sa San Juan. Eh, wala namang napakalaking laboratory sa San Juan. So, saan ang galing yan? Definitely smuggled yan.
So, konektado pa rin to sa smuggling, Senator Villar. No? Of course, at Senator Villar's pet advocacy and pet peeve, no? Natuloy-tuloy pa rin yung smuggling. Oh, pero pare-pareho naman ho yung same port. Front door lahat yan, di ba, Senator Villar? Wala namang back door dyan. Lahat dyan front door. Anyway, sige ho. So maybe in the next, I think there's going to be a next hearing, we can get more data regarding this operation. But definitely gusto ko natin makita, matigil na yung drug trade sa Bilibid and other correctional facilities. Let me move to another question on IACAT. Sino po yung pwedeng sumagot sa IACAT?
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Isaac Balmes. This is really just for information. IACAT was formed just a few years ago, di ba?
Yes,
And at one point, we were the head of this council. The Philippines was the head of the council.
The Department of Justice, sir, is the head of the Interagency Council Against Trafficking.
Yes, but I mean internationally, di ba? We're also part of a larger group, no?
There is a larger group, but when you say head, I think the good senator would be referring to our ranking, Tier 1 ranking for 2 years in a row. That is where we are, as far as Southeast Asia is concerned, we are heading, we are leading the fight because we are the only Tier 1 country in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
So baka po yun ang
And we still have that distinction, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good.
We repeated this year.
Alright. Lumalabas po kasi na yung cyber sex trafficking ng mga bata ho natin, napakataas, no? First question, totoo ho ba na isa tayo sa pinakamataas sa Asia, no, first question. And secondly, ano ho ba yung ginagawa natin dito? I know may mga celebrated NBI raids, no, and PNP raids regarding this, but napoprosecute po ba yung mga nahuhuli at nako-convict po ba sila?
Okay. Mr. Senator, may I kindly refer you to the Executive Director of IACAT, Attorney Prosecutor Darlene Pajarito, who knows more of the details, the day-to-day operations.
Thank you, sir, and good morning, Senator Aquino. As with the first question, whether Philippines is one of the highest when it comes to online child sexual exploitation, I wouldn't say that we are the #1, but I think maybe from 1 to 10, we're in the 10 countries because there is
in the world or in Asia?
Probably in the world, but I just base this information on, there is this Sweetie software, where, if you're aware of that, they tried to check whether, and the reason why we have one of the girls there in that Sweetie program is a Filipina, because that was based on, aside from a Filipina, another country, which they format the feature of the girl from another country, but one of those girl program there is a Filipina. The reason there is because when they try to check as to which country they would search for minor girls, Philippines was one of the highest, which is why they included a Filipina child in one of the software.
So what are the gains? No? In fairness, we are tier 1, meaning we're doing a lot against this, but maybe you can use this opportunity to share with us. Ano ba yung gains natin sa pagtigil po nito?
One of the gains
Before she answers, Senator Bong, yes, thank you for bringing that up. I will not be humble now. I'm the proud author of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act when I was a neophyte senator as young as you. And I'm also the proud author of the amendments to the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act in 2012, where the DOJ helped me in crafting the amendments. And because of these amendments, we have retained our Tier 1 ranking, and it strengthened the law. That's why there's a sharp rise in convictions. I will help you answer it. There was a sharp rise in the number of trafficking in persons convictions, especially 2 years after Republic Act 10364, or the expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, was enacted. There were 27 and 26 case convictions, 2012 and 2013 respectively. In 2014, there were 59 case convictions, in 49 in 2015, and 44 in 2016. I think you were a co-author and co-sponsor. You were in the House, okay. And the Philippines, of course, retained its Tier 1 status in the U.S. Department's Trafficking in Persons report of 2017 for the second consecutive year that the country is in Tier 1. But despite that, there's still much to be done. And online child trafficking is really a concern, especially as the International Justice Mission, a reputable non-government organization represented in the IACAT Council of the DOJ, which is DOJ and the DSWD head, now they go online. Dahil mapusok na nga tayo sa trafficking, so online na ngayon. Ito mga sindikatong ito, binibiktima mga batang younger than 10 years old. And from my gathering from the IGM, 80% of the pimps of these young children are relatives, mostly parents. Nakakasakit talaga ng puso na ang magulang ay binibenta sa sex trafficking ang kanilang anak. At ito'y siguro na dulot ng kahirapan. And I would like to think, and I think it's accurate, there's some semblance of connection between the drug syndicates and the sex trafficking syndicates. Kaya dapat, lalo natin paigtingin ang pagsugpo nito. So yun, sinagot ko lang yung tanong mo, pero I'm sure mas marami kayo masasagot kay Senator Bam.
If I may add, Chairman, a lot of this goes back to how porous our ports and our terminals are. No? Pareho po yung drugs at yung mga pag-smuggle ng tao, dumadaan po yan sa ating mga ports. No? And I think, you know, whether it's agricultural, human, or illegal drugs, talagang may kailangan po tayong mga reformang gawin dito po sa pagpasok at paglabas ng mga tao at goods, no, sa ating bansa. Anyway, si Senator Legarda answered the question, but yung 44 convictions,
Baka
yes.
mali ako. Kung mali ako, please update. You're free to correct me. I like to be corrected when I am wrong.
Maybe just a simple question. The 44 convictions you talked about, ano ba yan? 44 out of how many pending cases? Is that a high number? Is it a low number compared to the cases currently that are with you?
Well, I have also discussed with the judicial branch of the government as to what is the fair to compare the numbers. Is it the number of conviction as against the number of cases filed before the prosecutor's office or before the courts? And they said it won't be fair if we count the numbers, because if we count the numbers of conviction as against the number of cases filed before the courts, the numbers are really, the difference is really very big.
Can you give us a ballpark? Ilang cases ba? Kasi kayo yung nagpa-file ng cases, no? It's DOJ who files the cases, it goes to the judicial process, then may conviction. Yes. Now, alam naman natin sa Pilipinas, matagal talaga yan, and if I'm not mistaken, the average number of years for a case is still about 6 to 8 years, no? But we just want to know, ilan ba yung na-file nyo na kaso at ilan ba yung naging convictions na?
Well, as of 2017, June of 2017, from 2004, since the law came into effect in 2003, there are more than 3,000 cases, around 3,160 cases filed before the prosecutor's office.
That's 3,180 plus individuals who were caught trafficking children, whether for sexual sex trafficking or for other type of trafficking. 3,000 plus.
Not only for children, it
includes
all kinds of victims, whether they're males, females, boys, or girls. It's around 3,160 cases, more or less, from 2004, filed before the prosecutor's office, and then only around 10% of these cases are being dismissed. And then, so these cases goes to court, 90% of these cases goes to court, but only around about 85 or 80 to 85% are active in court, because other cases, they are archived because you couldn't find yet the accused, or some of the other cases they are dismissed because the victims refuse to testify, and the other percentage would go to the convictions. So if you look at the cases, that's only around from 2005, our first conviction was in 2005, up to 2017, we now have a total of 306 convictions. But 306, if you compare that to around 90% that goes to court, it's still a very small number. So the Office of the Court Administrator told us that you should compare it to the number of convictions as against the numbers of acquittals of those cases already filed in court.
Kasi yung mga pending, hindi pa naman natin alam, no, to be fair.
Yes, to be fair.
Anong mangyayari dun sa mga bata in cases like this? And sabi nga ni Chairman Legarda, most of the time, these are relatives who have done this to them. Anong mangyayari sa kanila? I know DSWD is also part of the IACAT Council, right? Could you narrate to us, ma'am, ano po yung mga proseso po dyan?
Well, DSWD, we actually have a very comprehensive program implemented by DSWD, or program in place. They are in place. So it includes social, all the social services from post-traumatic to including skills building or education. We even have under the DSWD schooling until high school for these children for long term. So we have both short term and long term. But I think we still need to strengthen that, to strengthen the program itself, but we have very good programs for this.
And, again, it is budget time, so pwede kong pag-usapan how we can support, no? Because definitely being Tier 1 is a badge of honor, but being in the top 10 of countries which have human trafficking is definitely a negative connotation. No? So if there are ways where we can support the fight against human trafficking, it would be good to talk about that also. Maybe in the succeeding hearings, or we can talk about it, Secretary, with the chairperson, if there's need to support this initiative further. No? I think this is something that we all want to make sure na hindi na talaga makikilala yung Pilipinas bilang isang bansa na marami po mga batang pwedeng dumaan po sa gantong pakikipagsapalaran. No?
Thank you, Senator. Actually, our for the strat plan of the IACAD, for the next 5 years, we actually focus it on labor trafficking and online child sexual exploitation, because our conviction numbers, out of the 306 convictions, only around 20% are, only around 6% are labor trafficking cases, and only about 19 are convictions on cyber trafficking. So the numbers are still very low, so which is why our strat plan is focused on strengthening all our programs on labor trafficking and online child sexual exploitation, and of course the other social programs.
Right. Chairperson, if I'm not mistaken, there's another hearing, no? We'll have another hearing.
Sorry.
No, here for DOJ.
I had wanted to finish DOJ as in the past years. However, Senator Drilon requested me to postpone the approval, pero don't worry, ma-approve naman ang budget nyo, to have another hearing because he's waiting for the documents and he had to leave.
I'll just have my questions for immigration and the other agencies then, Madam Chairperson.
Are the documents that from NBI already here that Senator Drilon was waiting for? Dumating na po. Well, maybe you could put it on record before I suspend today's hearing, just so that we know that the 20 minutes lapsed and it arrived. Opo. You're the executive director of IACAT now? Yes. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name again?
It's Darlene Pajarito.
Ito po si Darlene. Ayun pala. Okay. And you work closely with the IJM.
Yes.
So I don't have to tell you, I don't have to connect you with them. I'm sure you're in touch with them. They know which cities mataas ang online trafficking. Oo. Angeles. Diba?
Angeles City.
And
for the regional area, it's Region 7 and Region 3, where we have the highest number of cases.
Anong bayan sa Cebu? Is it Mactan? No,
Cebu, yes.
Hindi Mactan. ang ano? Cordoba?
Cordoba.
Cordoba in Cebu. Ayun na nga.
Mayor ng PLLO.
Ng Cordoba, si Mayor Sitoy. Ano saan si Mayor Sitoy? Anak yata niya yung Mayor. Saan si Mayor Sitoy? Cordoba. Kasi alam ko yun, meron pang na-raid dyan na bahay na dun yung mga paraphernalia na ginagamit sa mga bata nandun. At may mga dayuhan na bumibili na nga ng bahay dun at yun ang ginagawang layer ng mga nag-online. Ako, nanggigigil ako sa mga yan. Parang nagigigil ka sa garlic mo, nanggigigil ako dito sa mga traffickers na ito. So, Cordoba at saka Angeles. Kaya dapat ipatawag din nyo yung mga LGU. Kasi kung nagbabantay naman ang mga mayor at kapitan, at talagang bantay talaga sa kanilang boundaries. Alam nila sinong dayo dyan, sino ang foreigner na may kasamang mga bata. Alam nila yun. So close. Alam na, yung IGM, meron silang mapping ng areas. So please coordinate. I'm sure you're better. You do that.
Yes po.
Angeles and Cordoba, may ibang bayan pandig. Baka, I think Puerto Galera.
Yes po.
Also is gawa nga kayo ng gawa kayo please ng hotspot. Ayan, trafficking hotspot. Para sa DILG hearing, ay ma-advise ko din sa DILG at sa PNP. Tapos meron din kayong PNP sensitization workshops, no? To sensitize our law enforcers how to deal with trafficked children. Pag rescue. And the parents who traffic their own children. Baka nag-drugs yung mga magulang for them to allow their children to be toys, poor, uneducated, ignorant, and maybe ibang takbo ng utak. Mga nagdroga rin siguro. Hindi mo alam eh. So, Senator Bam, yeah. Sumingit lang ako that's my, you're done for the meantime, yeah. May we hear from Director Geran and put on the record the answers to Senator Drilon's question on the number of drug-related cases filed, yung tanong ni Senator Frank, or drug-related killings? Yes, opo. Pakiput sa record, and then maybe you could submit it to his office so that in the next hearing, it's already been studied. Just for your information, he requested for a second hearing, and I'm only available on August 31 at 2 p.m. dahil sunod-sunod na po na araw, umaga at hapon ang ating mga hearing. August 31, 2 p.m. But I assure you, your budgets will be passed. They just have more questions.
For the record, Madam Chair, I am submitting to my boss, the Secretary of Justice, a report of the NBI dated 7th of August. The report about the drug-related killings, as indicated earlier, and we have this report here. Attachments. And the attachments.
Yung numero. No, ilan po? Yung bottom line na lang, ano po yung numero? Then kindly submit that to the committee, and the committee will give it to Senator Drilon. Immigration. Didn't I file the immigration bill? I filed it, no? Ito din ang draft yun. Sa kanila galing. I filed the immigration bill. Yes, oo. Yeah. Ganito na lang po. Kung i-compute pa po nyo, pero may hard copy na lang, sige, ibigay na, makapagod na rin kayo at ibigay na lang po nyo sa committee, and then we will transmit it to the office of Senator Drilon, and please, may I request the bureaus to anticipate the questions. Alam naman niyo yung mga tatanungin sa inyo, taon-taon yung mga concerns, of the other senators on August 31 at 2 p.m. I think by the time, Attorney Gania would have collated the materials or documents from the regions.
Yes, Your Honor, but initially my staff sent me some partial
meron
numbers
na rin po.
that we have on cases involving alleged killings as a result of government campaign against illegal drugs. As of August 4,
yes,
we have received 11 cases and we have filed 9 cases. We have dismissed 1 and 1 is pending preliminary investigation.
This is 11 out of the 3,000 police operations.
Yes.
How about for the...
This is just a partial because it's coming from region 1 to 15.
Okay. Just like to reiterate, Chairperson, we'd like to see also yung non-police operations na deaths, no? I think I was clear naman earlier. So we can have that when it's ready. Thank you.
So the preliminary report of the PG and the NBI will be given to the Committee on Finance, and we will transmit it to the office of Senator Drilon, but the complete report of the PG's office will be available on or before August 31. Opo. At siguro suriin din nyo yung report ninyo para mas maayos pa, mas kompleto pa before August 31. And I don't need to apologize that there's a second hearing. This usually happens pag mahaba talaga yung mga tanong eh. Yes. Okay.
We'll do it, ma'am.
Pero siguro yung ibang natanong na, hindi na babalik. No, nandiyan lahat, no? Lahat, no? Lahat? Lahat. Oo, lahat na. Sige. Thank you very much, Secretary Soljan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Senator, Senator Ban.